Let's talk about sales calls. So, if you have a business, you've got to sell. I hate to break it to you, but you cannot have a business if you are not willing to sell. And for most businesses, their sales process is going to include some type of sales calls, whether you're B2B, business to business, or B2C, business to client. You will likely have to do some type of sales calls at some point in your business. And so, I want to take a moment and actually break down how I approach sales calls in a way that's super efficient. It allows me to understand the potential client and their needs to be able to match that up with an offer and lead to a conversion without that salesy, like pressury feeling. But there is a strategy to it. So I want to break it down. And first off, I want to name that when it comes to sales calls, I shoot for sales calls to be 20 minutes or less. That definitely requires a strategy and a level of structure to ensure that you're super efficient during the time. If you're finding yourself running over in your sales calls, 9 times out of 10, there's some either system you're missing or you just talking too much in your calls. Okay. So let's first start with talking about what has to happen before the call, then during the call, then after the call. So prior to the sales call, you want to be gathering intentional information about the person that you're speaking with and the problem that they're experiencing. So that way you can do a little bit of prep before you go into the sales call. You should never be stepping into a sales call blind. You want to have some type of information that's going to allow you to know what their needs are and what offer is going to be the best fit for their needs. So that could look like having a pre consult form. And the pre consult form can be embedded in the actual scheduling link. So that way, at the time that they book, they have to answer the questions. It could be an actual separate form that they have to complete the form. And then, based off of their responses, if they answer in a particular way, then it triggers them to be able to book the sales call. But you need to have some type of intentional system or process that allows you to gather data around the person that you're speaking with before the call so that way you can properly prepare for the call. Hey there, I'm popping in really quickly to make sure that you knew about my 7-figured business school. It doesn't happen often, but every once in a while, I teach live for 5 days straight. Baby, I'm still a teacher at heart, and it gives me so much joy to teach about the foundations of a 7-figure business. During the 5 days, I'll teach you how to package your offers, I'll teach you pricing, I'll teach you $1 million sales that aren't salesy, and I'll teach you how to find folks to go and pitch your offers to immediately. So do not wait. Go ahead, head to the show notes, and I want you to click the link to sign up for our next business school. I'll see you there. So, on that pre consult form, you want to ask intentional questions regarding how they're experiencing the problem. You want to ask questions just around their demographics, their context. So, let's say you do professional development for schools. You might want to ask how many teachers, are there particular dates in mind that they have for the professional development? You want to kind of ask some of those technical questions. So, again, you can A, research properly, but also start to formulate what offer is going to make the most sense for them. Or if we're talking professional development and there's hard dates, if I'm not available, we don't need to have the call, right? So, being able to construct your form in a way that gives you the necessary information to go into that call ready to be able to present the best offer for them. So, let's talk about what happens during the call. So they've completed the pre consult form. You've got the information about them that helps you prep for the call. When you get on the call, now it's time to actually lead the conversation. But in leading the conversation, you're leading with listening. So if we got about 20 minutes, I'd want to spend the first half of the conversation. I'm first going to introduce myself, but I'm going to introduce myself in a strategic way that shares my receipts in a succinct way that allows people to know that I'm qualified to solve your problem, right? So think about what are 1 to 2 receipts that you might share at the beginning of the call that helps set the tone that I'm an expert. So for me, this might sound like my name is Dr. Erica Jordan Thomas. I'm a former teacher, former school principal, and as a principal, I led my school to be ranked in the top 1% in the state for student growth. I'm excited to learn more about you and your needs today so that way we can explore what it might look like to help partner with you and your school community to help you be able to improve student achievement. Quick, succinct, positions me as an expert at the beginning of the call. From there, I would go into actually learning more around their context when it comes to the problem. So, this is where you want to be pulling on the information you had in the survey of tell me more about this. I saw you put this down. You have X amount of teachers. You said this is some of your biggest challenges. Tell me more about that. And you might ask, I know you said you have this date and time in mind. Is there any flexibility or how many sessions are you looking for? You said this is your budget. I still want to confirm, is that still your budget? All right, what questions do you have for me? So going through the next, I would probably say maybe 7 or 8 minutes of that conversation, you want to make sure are spent on listening intentionally to the other person and their problem. What it might tweak the offer that you present, it may not. Most of the time, it won't. But if you start to learn more information that actually causes you to pivot in the conversation, then that's the purpose of asking those questions to make sure that the offer that you present as the next step is the best fit for that lead. So once you get the information, we've introduced ourselves, we've asked strategic questions, followed up to the information we got on the survey, we're listening. Now we're moving to actually talking about next steps in the offer. Hey, y'all. I want to take a quick moment to pop in. I know the episode's getting really, really juicy, but I could not miss the opportunity to make sure that you know that we are headed to Atlanta October 3rd through 5th for Seven Figure Educator Live. This is my 3-day live event. It is the only 3-day live event for education consultants who are out here making a big impact and getting a big bank. And even if you feel like your bank ain't that big yet, I want you in the room because that's how your bank gets bigger, okay? I have curated a very special 3-day agenda that includes powerhouse speakers, 7, 8, 9-figure speakers, intentional networking to find your people, to find your next opportunity. Y'all, we're getting ready to take the city over, and we taking it over at a 5-star property, okay? Meet me in Atlanta October 3rd through 5th. Grab your ticket by heading to sevenfigureeducator.com. I'll link it in the show notes, and I'll see you there. So based off of the form, based off of the information you gathered during the call, we now want to move to actually talking about what is the best next step in terms of an offer and how we can work together. I would stay at a high level and name, this is what the package looks like. These are the high level details, and speak from the place of benefits. How will this benefit that particular client? How will they benefit the folks that you're going to be working with? What's the transformation that they're going to receive as a result of working with you? And then I would name investment. Okay. So the last part of the conversation, we're actually naming as the offer. And as a follow up to the conversation, we'd be sending a proposal. But before I get off the call, I would ask a very direct question of, so based off of the conversation that we had, based off of this offer, the next step would be moving forward towards a proposal. Based off of the offer that I presented to you, is this something that you're looking forward to moving forward with? And if they say yes, then we're all good to go. I would also ask the follow up question of, is there any reservations or hesitations that I should know about in terms of being able to move forward? Or if we move forward, are there any questions that you have for me? So I would use that last part of the conversation to get a very clear, definitive answer that they're a yes or a no. And if they're a no, I would ask the intentional follow up question of what's your greatest hesitation in terms of moving forward right now? Because you might be able to address that on the call, or that might be something that you need to schedule another follow-up conversation around. So post the sales call, I'm now sending the proposal, and it is mission critical that you get that proposal out in 24 to 48 hours. No longer than that. Because once you get past that 48-hour window, now people are further removed from the conversation. They've lost momentum. They've lost excitement. So you need to have your systems really, really tight to be able to send out that proposal. And in that proposal, you want to have a very clear deadline by which they need to respond to the proposal in order to finalize it and to be able to move forward as a client. That's how I'm going to go through my sales calls. I hope that's really helpful for you. Let me know in the comments your biggest takeaways, your biggest ahas. And if you found this episode to be helpful, I got 2 requests for you. I want you to hit the subscribe button so that way you are in the loop with future videos. And B, I want you to share it with a friend because sharing is caring, my friend. So hopefully this was helpful for you. I look forward to reading your comments, reading your feedback, and I'll see you on the next video.